All right, we're going to start today with Chapter 1, Section 5, Adding Integers. First thing you're going to need to know is what an integer is. An integer is a whole number and its opposite. Okay, so for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are all whole numbers, and their opposites would be -1, -2, -3, and -4. 0 is also a whole number, but there's no opposite for it. So today we're going to be learning how to add these sorts of numbers together. Okay, the first method we're going to use is to use a number line to find the sum. Sum just means the addition or the added product or the added version of the number. -6 plus 2, you always on a number line start at 0. So we go with -6 first. So we go in the -6 direction, 6 units. Okay, then we add 2. When you add 2, you go in the positive direction, 2 units. Notice the ending number we are on is -4. So the answer is -4. A couple helpful tips for this. If you want to add a positive number, you move to the right. You want to add a negative number, you you move to the left on the number line. As you can see above, we had a -6, so we went to the left 6 units, got to this spot, and then we wanted to add a positive 2, so we went to the right 2 units, and we ended at -4. Here's another example. -3 plus a -6. So we're going to go down to our number line here. Remember, you always start at 0. So from the 0, we're going to move in the -3 direction. You move 3 units to the left. So 1, 2, 3 units to the left. From this spot, you move another 6 units to the left because it's negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where you end is your answer. One more example like this. Again, using our number line, you start at 0. -3 to the left. And we are adding a positive 7, so we move 7 units to the right. So counting that from this spot, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my ending result is +4. All right. Now we're going to move away from using a number line and just being able to do it in our head. So how do you add integers just by looking at them and just being able to do this negative stuff in your brain? We're going to start with this helpful tip. If the signs are the same, when we say signs, we're talking about the number. Notice this is a +7 and this is a +5, separated by the addition sign. So they are both positive, so therefore you just add the numbers. Once you're done adding the numbers together, whatever sign was with your same sign numbers goes with the end result. Notice +7 plus a +5 gives you a +12. The next one right below that, this would be a good one to add to your notes. would be the negatives. Notice they are the same sign, and you're adding two same sign numbers, negative and a negative. Again, you just add the numbers together, 7 and 5, giving you 12, and whatever same sign you have, which is our negative, just goes to your end result. One more example of that would be a negative 3 plus a negative 5. Notice they're both negatives, so my answer is going to be the sum of the front numbers, which is 8. And since they're both negatives, my answer is going to stay negative. It's just making it a bigger negative number. What if your signs are different? Well, you find the difference of the absolute values and use the sign of the integer with the greater value. So for example, this 7 and this negative 5, they have different signs. But which one has the greater absolute value? Well, that would be 7, of course. 7 is bigger than 5. So you find the difference, which just means to subtract. So whenever the signs are different, you just subtract the two numbers. So 7 minus 5 is 2. And which sign was bigger, the positive or the negative? Well, the 7 is bigger, so that's why your result is a positive 2. It retains the bigger number's sign. The one right below it, again, different signs, negative 7, a positive 5, ignoring the sign in the middle, gives you the difference of 2 again. However, the 7 is or has the bigger negative with it. So therefore, you put the negative with the 2. One more example of that again would be something like, say, 8 plus a negative 9. Which number is bigger, 8 or 9? Well, the 9 is bigger. So right off the bat, I know my answer is going to be a negative number, because the negative is with a bigger number. And then since they are different signs, I just subtract them. What is 9 minus 8? Just 1. That is your answer. We're going to go through a couple more examples of using these tricks. I'll be just kind of speaking out loud what I'm thinking. It's going to be kind of difficult to kind of follow if you just look at what I'm doing, so make sure you're listening. 1 plus a negative 2. First thing to note, are the signs the same? Or are they different? You should be asking yourself this question. And in this scenario, we have a positive 1 and a negative 2, so we have different signs. And so we're adding two different signs. So back in our previous note, that means we must subtract. So looking at this, what's 2 minus 1? 1. And now looking back at the numbers, which number has the bigger sign? Well, 2 is bigger than 1, and 2 has a negative, so we must have a negative 1. Eight and 5. Negative and positive, those are different signs, so we must again subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3. 8 has the negative, and that's the bigger number, so it must be negative 3. And the last one. 2, negative 2, and negative 4. They are the same sign. And if you look back in your note, that means you need to add the numbers. So 4 and 2 quite easily is 6. And if you just look at the same sign, they are both negatives. So therefore, our answer is a negative 6. One thing to note about these is that these are all expressions. And so I'm not saying equals negative 6. I'm not saying equals negative 3. It is just strictly negative 6. All right, now the last thing we're going to talk about today is evaluating expressions. So the expression c plus 4 has a variable in it, c. If you look later on in our sentence here, it says c is equal to a negative 8. So what I'd like us to do is to rewrite the original expression and then substitute our value c in for negative 8, or negative 8 in for our variable c rather, giving us negative 8. And I always like to put it in parentheses whenever I substitute. And now you can see it's just like the previous problems. Looking at the numbers, we have different signs. One's negative, one's positive. So we must subtract the numbers. 8 and 4 subtracted is 4. Looking back at the numbers, 8 is bigger than 4, so our result must have that sign. And the sign with the 8 is a negative. So negative 4 is our answer. One more problem just like that for practice would be evaluate d plus 7. Again, rewrite the expression, d plus 7. Substitute the negative 3 in for your d variable. So we have different signs again. One is negative and one is positive, ignoring the sign in the middle. So different signs means you need to subtract, going with the note a couple pages previous. So 7 minus a 3 is the difference, 4. Now looking back at these numbers, 7 is bigger than 3. So we go with the sign that's on the 7. The sign with the 7 is a positive, so my result must be a positive 4. So to recap what we've learned today, using a number line to find the sum of integers. By going left in the negative direction and right in the positive direction using numbers. Second thing we learned, that if the signs are the same, you simply add. If the signs are different, you subtract. And then how do you determine which sign goes with your result? When they are the same, you just use the same sign. And if they are different and you subtract, you use the greater numbers sign. All right, there it is. Adding integers, chapter 1, section 5. Good luck.